She doesn't know yet, but she's the new love of my life. That's lovely. That shape-wise is an absolute dream. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Huge day for us. This is the unveiling for us of the brand new TaylorMade Qi35. Andrew, it's great to be with you down here.
Thanks for coming down.
Not at all.
Love it when you come in here and test our products and tell us how well we're doing.
Highlight of the year. Honestly, these trips are the highlight of our sort of golf calendar when we come down to not just hit the new product, but learn about it and obviously help educate you guys about it and sort of give you our thoughts as to the development year upon year. There's big expectations from a client base now, isn't there? Everyone expects year on year there's massive gains, and I think these are really important for people to understand the direction. The hard work you guys put in 365 days a year in delivering a better product year in, year out. So let's dive into the brand new line. We've got Qi35. Tell us about the evolution of the name from Qi10 to 35.
Absolutely, yeah. So Qi was a quest for inertia. Qi10 was a quest to reach the maximum limits that we can with the USG and RNA limits. Qi35 is a deeper story. We're still want to give the consumer as much forgiveness as possible. We want to give them the right launch conditions. Right. That's why we have quite a few different drivers on here. The 3 actually stands for form, fit, and function, right? So the functionality of the product, how the engineering is it, the form, the way we're designing these things to look as serious and premium as possible. And then lastly, fit. We're really focusing this year on making sure we have the best fitting piece for our retail partners to make sure that the consumer gets the best fit possible. And then the 5 really comes down to these 4 heads you see here, plus our select fit part, right? So we've got an LS driver, we've got a core driver, we've got a Max and a Max Lite. And then we also have a fitting piece too that has fiducials on it to make sure that we can give as much data to the fitter as possible, so that when you get fit into these products, you have confidence that you're getting into the right product.
I mean, and that's a lot of heads to kind of put out there. And I love the emphasis on fitting. Obviously, coming from a background ourselves in the fitting network within Club Champion, that's huge to hear how much fitting is at the table when R&D are developing new products, and sort of the unlocking of these incredible heads, because the technology is one thing, but bringing it to life is how the customer gets to experience the technology. So it's great to hear that as an emphasis at the table.
Yeah, so we have a 10K driver this year, Qi35 MAX 10K. This is still a 10K product. We are looking internally, like how do we maneuver weight around while keeping the 10K, as well as making the face, unlocking more areas of the face where you get more distance.
Right.
We have a light version of this too, so this is not 10K, this is a 9K driver. Okay. But again, for those slower swing speeds, people have a hard time keeping the product on plane. This is really helpful to keep the club head moving quickly, to see good ball flights, and then we can fit better through that. Smart. And then, obviously for our better players, we have the LS product here. It has more weight configurations in it, so the ability to fit even more just with weighting. And then lastly, the Qi35 with 2 TAS weights in here, which can be flipped. And just really the weight in the back, you're going to get more forgiveness. Weight forward, you're going to get more ball speed, more distance. And so, you really have the best of both worlds with all these products, but just understanding that we are maneuvering weight further than ever before, so that the fitter can actually see the numbers change, the consumer can see the ball flight change, and just get the right fit, visually, as well as, making sure the numbers make sense.
I think once in all of the development and all the technology that people will experience in the fit, probably is the second thing they'll experience. The first thing's going to be the look.
Yeah,
they're going to look and see, how visually striking this is. I mean, this is impressive stuff, isn't it?
It's a high-end sports car. I mean, it's nuts. It's so clean and luxury looking. It's impressive.
Right, and we spend a lot of time obsessing all the details of how we make these forms. Aerodynamics is really important. Stiffness is another one. We make these forms as stiff as possible. But this new chromium carbon fiber, I mean, it looks beautiful. It's super stiff and lightweight. We're using carbon fiber in like most, efficient way possible. No different than like Formula One teams do with cars, and we're laying these things up with like very thin layers, using minimum epoxies in between them to make sure that we get the strength, the rigidity, as well as removing as much weight as possible. And then just looking at this gunmetal titanium finish on these, this is the best, most mirror-like finish. I mean, you can really see your face in these things.
Incredible.
These things are polished by robots, right? So we're making sure that not only are they the best polish, but also removing the exact same amount of weight from head to head. So repeatability within the materials is so important for us, because we're moving that weight to where we absolutely want it to be. So we're using these high-tech processes to make sure that we make the most accurate parts possible from part to part. Really, and what the consumer is going to see is that when they get this product, they're going to see the performance out of it.
Let's talk a little bit about downrange. When a player starts to hit the product, what has changed from a sort of a design perspective with the under the hood, that people are going to experience? What's different under the hood from Qi35 from Qi10?
You're going to see a lot more weighting configurations. We're going to pinpoint weighting. Qi10 LS last year had a sliding weight in it.
Yep.
Sliding weights are great for moving weight around quickly.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't the best in terms of like you have to hold structure around it to hold that system in place. That's discretionary weight that we could use elsewhere, right? The other thing we can do with pinpoint weights, and you can see it especially with the core model,
Yep.
how far we're moving weights versus a sliding weight. And this shape is allowing us to move it as far as possible. So now as you flip these, you really do see performance differences. It also means we're putting more weight where we need it and sort of less weight surrounding it to hold it in place.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's probably the biggest difference you'll see.
We're going to hear this term kind of thrown out in the early days of the marketing of CG projection.
Yes,
and that's going to be a huge one for golfers to experience, and especially when we get into launch monitors and starting to read the sort of launch numbers. What does that mean, and how should the customer sort of digest that?
So that's really where this club head would balance directly in line with the center of gravity. And so, you know, when you look at hosels and high crowns and thick faces, metal faces in the past and so forth, you know, it pulls a lot of weight forward and it pulls a lot of weight up. And so we've never really been able to have a driver where the center of gravity is actually center equator of the face. Right. This is the first time, especially with the Qi35 LS, where we actually have it just like 0.2 millimeters below the center of the face, which equates to, if you hit the center of the face, you're going to get the best energy transfer possible. Yep. But lowering that center of gravity in all these products, which have all been lowered, you have more area of the face where, you know, if you mishit it, right, and you hit it high in the face, the club wants to loft, but because of gear effect, you get less spin. And so you get high launch, low spin parameters, which allow you to have longer drives of more of the face. And so by lowering that CG, it's better for everybody. It's better for tour players, right? Because they don't want to hit spinny short shots, want more consistency, as well as, you know, high handicappers will have more of the face where they're going to see more distance. And so if we can lower it across the board, we'll make better products. It's harder to do that with high MOI products because you have to pull the center of gravity so far back, and then as it projects higher. And so we're able, with this new technology, the carbon wood technology, the carbon faces, we've taken so much weight out of this area and put it all in these inertia generators, which are in line with where the CG needs to be. You can see directly where that, you know, if you could project through here, you can see that everything's in line with that weight. Now we have the lowest CGs we've ever created across the board, which just equates to more area of the face. Is going to give you more distance and more forgiveness. Okay,
Andrew, we're going to go into the Qi35 MAX first. A head that, I'll be honest, last year I couldn't, I hit it, I couldn't manage the spin. For me, as somebody who kind of maybe lives in the 2500 range with a low spin head and with a miss pattern that kind of probably lives in that low heel quadrant, it's a tough spot to miss a driver with kind of the mass in the rear. How has this one evolved specifically?
Yeah, so we lowered the center of gravity on the balance point by 0.5 millimeter, which was equating to about 200 RPMs less spin across the whole face. Really, those last 200 RPMs is what we've really tried to fix with this product. And you'll see it when you hit it. You should be able to see it like more of that boring trajectory that you expect. You know, and we're making sure this is for a large range of handicappers. But just understand, you know, we don't want that sort of over spinny, low impact shot that's sort of just going to fall out of the sky too early. Yep. And hopefully you see that today.
Love it. Okay, let's hit a few. Me. I mean, I'll call that a win any day of the week. I mean, see how necky it was. It kind of started left, cut right, 3100.
Yeah.
That's massive.
Little lower heel.
It looks great. I don't know I don't know if it's something about the other one. Last year, the driver looked big. Yeah. And I know this is, you know, probably
same profile.
Same. It looks more, I don't know, maybe it's just a stealthy kind of like, you know, great finish, but it looks a bit more digestible.
It's good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we also put a satin finish on it, so you'll see like you don't get these super bright highlights, like, you know, especially in a beautiful day like this in Carlsbad. You don't get these bright hot spots. Yeah. It just looks really good, and even the tour players are saying like they really like the way the materials and everything looks dark around the edges. Yeah. There you go.
Good.
Yeah, 2900.
Yeah, perfect. When you're going to launch this one higher, I mean, it's got, you know, it's a very deep CG, so it's going to dynamically loft a bit more, as you'd expect. But that's not overspinning.
Yeah, good speed.
I really like, I mean, that's a tad left, and we're just going to end up, I love that flight.
Yeah.
Kind of just hits its apex, falls a little bit left.
Yep.
That was great.
Yeah, from our testing, we see the average player sees like 6 to 7 yards left of center as a neutral. And so, you know, we take that into account too. We want this one to be a little more left than the others just because we're trying to help that sort of that type of golfer turn it over a bit more. So you will see it fall a little bit more to the left than the others, but that's what we design into the product.
Hey, this could go right into the bag.
Nice flight.
Yeah.
Sounds good too.
Yeah, and I think for a player who has higher spin tendencies and maybe a miss pattern that just, you feel a little bit like, I wish I could, because I do miss it and I would love the forgiveness, but the trade-off of the spin means that it's just too much to kind of give up in performance. But I mean, if you can hit it, what was that last one there, 23?
2300, yeah.
Yeah.
Just, and I love that flight. I mean, that's ideal.
So good.
It really is
Yeah.
good. Okay, why don't we kick into the core model?
Okay. I think we just fit you.
Kidding. 26.
What was the launch numbers on that one? Got the delivery numbers.
You were 11.4 on that. 11.4 at 2681.
The Max and the Core are definitely closer in head shape this year.
They are. Yeah, so the Core last year was 4 millimeters less from front to back. This is the same overall profile as the Max. We just changed the toe shape a little bit to look a little more tour inspired. But overall, it's the same dimensions.
Closer. Just pulled it.
Yep.
That one carry a little more. Like it looked like it hit, a little more of an
285, yeah.
285?
285, 13 launch, 2100.
Okay.
Quicker too, 162.
I love that. 13 and 2100.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Perfect.
Right
Wow.
Wow.
So nice.
Andrew,
Russ.
I'm a terrible driver of the golf ball.
Not
I'll be
today.
honest.
Not today.
Not today. So easy.
Yeah.
11 launch, 2650. Like, it's so nice.
Doesn't that shape just inspire confidence too?
100%.
Yeah, it just makes you feel like you can really go after it.
And then if you kind of, if you need it, if you want it,
Yeah.
we've got that 13 in the rear, but we've got the 3. We can flip those around if you need to. But
Yeah.
the fact that that's as stable as it is, and again, that was another little low center miss.
Yeah.
A little bit quicker there.
162. Were you expecting that one to hang out a bit more
I
right?
totally. I expected it to stall.
Yeah.
I expected it to get up there. I would not have said. I thought that would be 28, 29.
Good spin, 20, 24, almost 2500.
Yeah.
Really good.
What are we looking at? Have we got a little table there? We can look
Yeah.
at the comparison and spin between those first two, just to, because like the user experience to me, they don't feel that different. But I obviously see the numbers. The speeds went up a little bit with this one.
Yep.
Spin just down a tick.
But even that last one, you're launching at 13 degrees. You only spin at just under 2,500.
Yeah.
It's still like a good window.
So really between the two, we've got 158.6 ball speed with Max. We've jumped up really, really nicely, 2 miles an hour there, just a tick over that. Launched the same, spin, dropped that nice window about 350-ish. What have we picked up in carry?
266 to
Yeah,
275.
9.
Yeah.
9 in the air.
Yeah, so the CG, the balance point on this one's about 1.5 millimeters lower
Yeah.
than what Max was. And so you're seeing more area of that face. We're actually still launching it high, but you're not overspinning it. And that's because we've lowered that CG so much on that. But you still have a really high MOI product, right? We gave you this basically 1,000 less or 1K less, right,
Yeah.
MOI, but we dropped the balance point as well to offset that.
Yeah, I mean, and I think people sort of, 10K being the conversation piece, but understand how stable 9K is.
Yeah,
Relative
very
to what has
stable.
come in the past, what golf clubs have been at, drivers have been at. I mean, it really is an extremely stable driver with high performance as well.
Exactly.
Let's go into LS. Let's look at that. All right, Andrew, here she is. She doesn't know yet, but she's the new love of my life. That's lovely. That shape-wise is an absolute dream.
Yeah.
Original Sim and I had a love affair. We still do. We still see each other regularly. And this, to me, when I look at that, it really reminds me of that shape.
Yeah, it's a great shape. It's a tour player shape, and we've had so much success this year on tour. You can talk to Adrian later today about just how much success we've had with QI and giving a little more inertia, but keeping those shapes right. We have the weight right now in the back position. These have been all 9-degree drivers so far. We changed the loft sleeve a little bit. This is now perfectly neutral.
Yeah.
Because we'll see less spin with this, and you might need a little bit more loft compared to the others.
Right.
But overall, very similar numbers to where we were last year in this weighting configuration. And if you want, we can dramatically lower that CG and move the weight to that forward toe position if you really want to see how to lower spin. But What you see in this, it should be very similar to last year's product with a bit more MOI and a little bit lower balance point.
Yeah, no, I mean, it looks tremendous. Nice to see, as much as I knew with the Max, I had to get the loft down to get the spin in the right window. It's nice to see some loft now. With this one, it's nice to see a bit more face.
Yep.
A little low in the head.
Yeah. Spin kicked up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Bit closer there, boys.
Yep. 12.6 launch.
Yep. Yeah, launch conditions were good. Where was that strike there, Mikey? Just slightly toe side?
Yeah.
Andrew, now that we can we take advantage of that toe weight?
Absolutely.
I love feeling like I can kind of go after it, trying to turn it a little bit, knowing that I really don't have to fear the left side. Let's go back.
Yep.
I feel like that was a pretty good move.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get that face to. It felt like it got heavier.
The cool thing about that exercise is we moved the weights and you instantly saw a change, right? And you're like, I don't like that. That's great. Now we know that that's not the right position for you versus working with it because you think maybe it's good or bad, but now we know instantly that the flight didn't work.
It was a real feel thing as well, Andrew.
Yeah.
It really felt like sort of it was going to take so much more to sling the face around. It really feel like it just felt like it was just going to be heavier and more of a challenge.
He's spinnier, but it's a flight that was trying to.
You catch it in the better part of the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop throwing the heel.
Want to move it upright
Can we
first?
try it upright? We could try it upright too.
Sure.
Might help. There we go.
Better. It just goes to show head to head, they're different, aren't they?
Yeah.
We're kind of seeing some different things, and that's again when you start playing with center of gravity a little bit for certain players, how you influence that player's delivery a little bit. I felt so comfortable in the core.
You did.
The Max was a surprise to me to kind of just fall into that one as well. And then this one has definitely been, we've had to go down to the 8 degree. We're kind of playing around with the kind of lie angle a little bit, getting a little bit more up, and it feels way more comfortable. But it just goes to show, I mean, that's why there's 3 heads in the line actually. 4 heads if you include the Lite, if you're of that swing speed. It's amazing to have those options.
And that's really the goal, is to make sure they all do play a little bit differently, and we're not trying to give you the same driver with a different shape.
Love it.
Cool.
Okay, guys, there's a full run through of the new line of heads and the drivers. We're going to dive into the fun part. We're going to dive into a fit with a face you'll have seen, a name I'm sure you'll have heard. Good friend of mine, Adrian, who works with all the top players. So really excited to dive in and unlock whatever it is of one of these 3 heads. It's probably not what I thought it was going to be. We may see some fun stuff. All right, guys, stay tuned for that, and we'll see you again soon.